Okay, so the 2019 iPhone is coming out very, very soon. In fact, since we're already in July now, the 2019 iPhone, or should I say iPhones, will be out in just 2 months' time. So yeah, it's crazy how fast time flies. Can you believe that we're already in July? Yeah, we've seen more of 2019 than what's left of 2019. So here's an update with all the latest leaks and rumors regarding the 2019 as well as next year's 2020 iPhones. Quite a lot of cool stuff that I want to cover in this video that I haven't talked about in quite some time. Also, if you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing and tap the bell icon so that you get notified as soon as a brand new video comes out. Yeah, thanks for doing that. Thanks for tapping the bell. And now here's everything you need to know in terms of the 2019 and the 2020 iPhones. Okay, so in terms of the 2019 iPhones, personally, I gotta be honest, I'm not so excited. Like, we're getting the exact same design on the front as in 2018 with the iPhone XS and in 2017 with the iPhone X. Literally no changes on the front at all. The back is the only change that we're getting, since we're getting that beautiful, very beautiful triple lens camera module, the best design that I've seen. And aside from that, we're also getting a redesigned mute switch. So just like on the old iPads, if you guys remember those, it would slide forward and backwards rather than upwards and downwards. But yeah, that's about it design-wise. Now, SlashLeaks has actually posted a few leaked CAD models of the 2019 iPhones recently, and by recently I mean yesterday. And here we get everything that we already knew about the iPhone 2019's design just confirmed at this point. So we have on the 5.8-inch iPhone 11, we have a triple lens camera module, and we also have the 6.1-inch iPhone 11R with that dual camera module, and then finally the 6.5-inch iPhone 11 Max also with that triple lens camera module. Now, there are two new interesting things that I've noticed when it comes to these CAD models. So the first one being that the lightning port is still there. We've seen some reports that Apple was going to finally switch to USB Type-C on the 2019 iPhones, but most reports were actually pointing towards Apple sticking with Lightning and instead including a fast charger inside the box alongside a USB Type-C to Lightning cable. And this is what these CAD models confirmed, at least the part where Apple is still sticking with Lightning in 2019. And I mean, I do get why they're doing this, aside from, just profits, which is obviously the main reason. Users do have a ton of Lightning accessories, which they've acquired since the iPhone 5 came out in 2012. So for the past 7 years, you guys have a lot of accessories, chargers, docks, whatever, even headphones, Lightning headphones. Don't buy those, but some of you might have some of those. Switching to USB Type-C would make a lot of those accessories incompatible with the iPhones. And yes, Apple does make a percentage of income for each third-party Lightning accessory sold. Switching to USB Type-C would mean that they would not make any profits from that since Apple does not own USB Type-C. But they do own Lightning. Plus, there are a ton of USB Type-C accessories on Amazon, so even when Apple does eventually switch, it wouldn't be very hard for consumers to find good USB Type-C accessories for their iPhones. It's just that, Apple won't be making any money from those. And then the second thing that I've noticed in those CAD models is the mute switch. So it's not really clear if this is the redesigned one that I was talking about before, or if this is literally the same one that we've had ever since the original iPhone came out in 2007. And 3D Touch will be making a comeback actually on the iPhones that still support it in iOS 13. So in case you don't know what I'm talking about, 3D Touch has actually been removed in iOS 13, even on the iPhones that do have the hardware enabled. So the way it works now is similar to haptic touch. I mean, it is haptic touch, so you actually hold your finger on an icon and the phone will vibrate. Same as it currently works on the iPhone XR, rather than being a pressure-sensitive touch. However, a developer named Don has actually emailed Craig Federighi about this, and Craig actually responded, saying that it is a bug which will be fixed. But the 2019 iPhones are indeed said to remove 3D Touch hardware entirely in order to decrease the manufacturing cost, in order to decrease the thickness of the device, and also make room for a slightly larger battery. Now, personally, I wouldn't miss 3D Touch that much because I don't use it that often. You see, when I do use it, I use it mostly on the lock screen to activate the flashlights. Haptic feedback, by the way, where you have to hold your finger on that icon is such a noticeable step backwards. I don't like it at all. It's pretty bad, but again, I don't use it that much anyways. And then Indian tech blog mysmartprice.com has found that Apple has registered not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but actually 11 new iPhone models in the EEC, or the Eurasian Economic Commission. So this usually happens just a few months before a brand new device gets released. And the fact that this was registered at the end of May 2019 points towards a release in the next few months, which would coincide with the upcoming September Apple event, at which Apple releases and announces the new iPhones. Now, something interesting here is that they were running on iOS 12 rather than iOS 13, which is set to launch before those iPhones ship. Now, we've seen something similar regarding some upcoming Macs, which I'll cover in a separate video, but even there, those Macs, the ECC report for those Macs, which are only supposed to come out in October or November, were actually running on macOS 10.14 or Mojave rather than 10.15 or macOS Catalina. And the chances of Apple releasing both new Macs and the new iPhones before September, or delaying iOS 13 and macOS 10.15 until December or so, are very, very slim. But that's pretty much it in terms of the design of the new iPhones. And yes, I really don't think that these are the best design that Apple has made, by any means. I mean, take a look at the camera module on the back, especially on the white iPhone 11 or the iPhone 11R, it looks like a beehive. I mean, I get why Apple has colored the inside of the camera module that way, so that the back has more color rather than having that big black section in the top left. But still, I think that Apple could have made such a better choice when it comes to the design. I think this could have been so much better. And yeah, this is the iPhone 11. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on how this thing looks like. But aside from this, we do know that the new 2019 iPhones will also support something pretty cool, which I do like, and that is reverse wireless charging, which will actually allow you to charge the AirPods, the second gen with the wireless charging case, on the back of your iPhone, which is pretty much, you know, what Samsung has already, and Huawei, they already have this, so you can put the Galaxy Buds on the back of an S10 and charge it from there. I just hope that Apple automatically enables reverse wireless charging when the AirPods are detected rather than having to go through the menus and enable this manually from the settings like you currently have on Samsung phones. Feel free to watch our hands-on video with the actual iPhone 11 cases here. It's a really interesting one. In case you haven't seen it, watch it here. But yeah, there you go. This is everything in terms of the iPhone 11. It doesn't seem that exciting, to be honest, at least not to me. Like, I'm excited to test out that camera, and I'm really hoping that it's a good one, as good as the side of the module implies it to be. So yeah, fingers crossed for a pretty good camera. Speaking of the camera, by the way, that third module will indeed be a wide-angle lens, the same as Samsung has it, Huawei, LG, OnePlus, and pretty much everyone else. But if you're not excited for the 2019 iPhones, the 2020 ones are definitely going to be the big change here. So Ming-Chi Kuo, who's been, well, the world's most famous Apple analyst, reports that Apple will be releasing not one, not two, but 3 OLED iPhone models in 2020. So yes, the iPhone 12R or the 11SR or whatever this thing will be called will finally be getting an OLED display. Now keep in mind that Samsung's been doing this since 2010. Yes, 10 years before Apple, Samsung already had the entire flagship lineup running on OLED displays. And according to Ming-Chi Kuo, the size of the iPhones will change as well. So the smallest variant will be a 5.4-inch iPhone, so smaller than even the iPhone XS. So this will be the new iPhone SE, so to say, size-wise. Then the iPhone R will remain at 6.1 inches, but OLED this time instead of LCD. And then the iPhone Max will be getting a 6.7-inch display from 6.5 inches. Also, the 2020 iPhones will be the first ones to support 5G, and they will be using Qualcomm's 5G chips. Now, Apple is already working on their own 5G chips, but they won't be ready until 2022 or so, according to multiple inside sources as well as Ming-Chi Kuo himself. And the 2020 iPhones will finally update the front design that we've had ever since the 2017 iPhone 10. Both Oppo and Xiaomi have unveiled an in-display front-facing camera. Yes, a camera that can go underneath an OLED display panel, and this is a special type of OLED display, by the way, where the display can actually go transparent when needed. So it goes transparent where the front-facing camera module is, and whenever you want to take a selfie. Now, keep in mind that the quality isn't that great at the moment, but it will be improved, and this is something that Apple could in fact achieve in 2020. Now, obviously, the only problem for Apple is that they use Face ID on all of their newest iPhones and the iPads, which requires a lot of sensors to work, not just the front-facing camera like most other smartphones have. However, the good news is that Reuters reported earlier this year that Apple's Face ID manufacturer and supplier, AMS, has developed an in-display solution for Face ID where all the sensors could actually be positioned underneath the display panel, so all the sensors except for one of them, which is the front-facing camera. But you see, with Oppo's and Xiaomi's in-display camera tech, this can easily be solved, and Apple could essentially have all the front-facing, the Face ID tech, including the front-facing camera underneath the display, and therefore they could have a full-screen display panel with no notch, no Face ID, cutout or anything like that, just a full screen display with all the tech included underneath the panel itself. And then 18 News, another source with a pretty good track record, has reported that Samsung has provided samples to Apple of a foldable OLED display. We know that Apple is interested in manufacturing foldable iPhones in the future. In fact, they even have multiple patents on this. So this could be either Samsung trying to promote and sell their foldable display technology to Apple, or it could be that Apple is close to releasing a foldable iPhone in 2020 or so, and Apple actually requested those samples themselves. Regardless, a foldable iPhone is coming, and this is what I'm looking forward to the most. And then a report coming from Economic Daily News, which has also had a pretty good track record so far, claims that Apple would be launching a 4.7-inch iPhone SE in 2020, which, I mean, the iPhone SE 2 has been rumored and leaked so much at this point, but for whatever reason, Apple has actually canned it. But this will apparently be an iPhone 8 with some upgraded internals, and it will be sold as the smallest iPhone with modern specs. So it will have a 4.7-inch LCD display just like the iPhone 8, the exact same design including that old home button, but it will have an Apple A13 processor as well as 128GB of baseline storage. And according to Economic Daily News' report, it will also retain a single camera module, and it will be priced at around $650 or £500 in the UK. And I don't know. I really don't like what Apple is doing here. This is just Apple being really lazy. They're just taking an old iPhone 8 design, which is actually an iPhone 6 design from 2014. So yeah, a 6-year-old design, and they're putting a brand new processor in it and charging exactly the same, by the way, fun fact, exactly the same as the iPhone 6 used to cost in 2014. Keep in mind that this was a flagship phone. This one, the iPhone SE2 or whatever this thing will be called, will not be a flagship phone, but the price is basically identical. And this is another one of those reasons why Johnny Ive has left. So I'll make a separate explain video just on that, so definitely stay tuned. But Wall Street Journal has released this massive report where many people working at Apple and close to Tim Cook and Johnny Ive have allegedly been sources in that report. And they claimed that the reason why Johnny Ive left was that Apple wasn't changing. That Tim Cook didn't care at all about design or even knew about some of their products before they were released and unveiled at the event. So this could actually explain the odd pictures and videos that we've seen from the Mac Pro event where it appeared that Johnny Ive was explaining to Tim Cook how it worked and showing Tim the design for the first time. And considering the lazy design choices that Apple has made over the recent years, by re-releasing old design with better specs and, you know, taking ages to update the design, I definitely do believe that. So an iPhone 6 with an Apple A13 processor and a slightly better camera doesn't seem to be that much out of reach in 2020. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about everything that I've said and Apple's recent lack of design changes. I do like that they're focusing more and more on the Pro market with the Mac Pro, the iMac Pro, and also the recent MacBook Pro upgrades. I really like that, but I feel like Apple has just gotten really lazy design-wise and change-wise. Yeah, let me know in the comments your thoughts on everything that I covered in this video, and definitely subscribe and notifications if you want to see more in-depth tech videos and Leaksummer's episodes such as this one. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Son of Tech, signing out. Cheers.